Alright, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to make a video about formula fields and cross-object formula fields. Now, I want to keep my introduction here pretty short. Obviously, formula fields are very useful for pulling data from different fields on your object or from other related objects, and I want to show you guys quickly how to get those set up. So, no more explanation needed, let's get started. Alright, so our first step as always is just to log into Salesforce. Now once I've logged in, I'm going to go to my search and I'm going to search for opportunities and I'm going to click on fields. Now once I'm in fields, I'm going to click on new to create a new custom field within my opportunity object, and I'm going to click on formula. Now we're going to repeat this process 5 times in this video because we're going to do 5 different formula fields. So this is all pretty standard. We need to give it a label, we need to give it a name, and we need to choose what the return type of the formula field is. In general, these are going to be numbers, percentages, or text. In this case, I'm actually going to choose a number because this is going to be the commission if this opportunity was a partner sale. And I'll leave it at 2 decimal places. I could have also used currency, but I'm just going to use number. And now I need to create my formula. So on the right-hand side, I have all my different functions. I'm going to choose if, and I'm going to insert that. So you can see I need a logical test, I need a value of true, and a value of false. For my logical test, I'm going to insert a field called partner sale that I created. Now partner sale is a Boolean, so it works for a logical test. If it's true, it's true. If it's false, it's false. If it's true, I'm going to multiply the amount by 10%. And if it's false, I'm going to leave that amount at 0. So if it is a partner sale, the commission is 10%, essentially is what the formula says. Looks like the syntax checked out. And I'm just going to make sure I treat blank fields as zeros. And I'm going to go ahead and click next. Now let's just jump through this because this is not actually important to this specific video, page layouts and permissions and whatnot. So let's jump to an opportunity and let's confirm that our formula field is appearing and working as we expect. So I'm going to open up my first opportunity here. And as you can see, my commission's at 0. Now if I check partner sale and I save, there my partner commission has now populated to 10%. Alright, in the next example, what we're going to do is we're going to create a hyperlink. So let's go to cases, and let's use our nifty little arrow here on the right-hand side to open up the fields. And as always, let's create a new custom field on our case object. We'll select formula, and we will make it, we'll call this dial out. And this is going to be explained in a moment. I'm going to make it of type text. Now what I want to do with this formula field is I actually want to make a link that uses a voice over IP dialer to call the contact related to this case. So I'm going to insert a hyperlink function which requires 2 and possibly 3 parameters. A URL, a friendly name, and potentially a target. I only need 2. So for the friendly name, what I want to do is this is what's going to actually appear to the user. I want to put in call, and then I want to concatenate to that the actual phone number. So I'm going to click insert field, I'm going to go find contact, and I'm going to go find contact phone number. There it is. So if I insert that, that's actually the cross-object formula field that we're going to be using. So it goes from case to contact, and then it pulls the phone number off that contact. Now for the URL. I'm going to put in something like https myvoipserver.com/dial ? Phone equals, and then again, I'll concatenate that contact.phone value. Now I'm just going to format this a little bit, which is always a good idea with these formulas to understand what's going on. Check the syntax, looks good. All right, let's go ahead and we'll click next, and then we'll click next, and then we'll save. So now I want to go check out my cases, and I'll open up a sample case, and I want to make sure that that field actually appears the way I expect. Now I see in the dial out, and I have my VoIP server. It's formatting that for me automatically. All right, so in our next example, we're going to create something a little bit more complex. Let's go back to fields, and we'll create a new field, again in our case object. Type is, of course, formula, and we will give this a name. I'm going to call this one age rating. And what I'm going to do with this formula field is I'm going to say new, aging, or old, depending on how long the case has been in the system. So it's going to be type text. I'm going to go next, and I'm going to start creating my formula. Now I'm going to start with an if, and I'm going to need to nest more ifs within my if that makes sense. So my logical test is today, the date of today, minus the date value of the created date of that case. If it's less than 7, that is less than a week old, I'm going to consider it new. Now, if it's more than 7 but less than 14, what I want to do is put another if. And again, if today minus date value of created date is now less than 14, I'm going to call it aging. Now, if neither of those are true, that means it's older than 14. I'm going to call it old. Now let's check the syntax. Everything looks good there. So we'll just go ahead and zoom through this. We'll go to next. And we'll go to next. And we'll save. Now we need to make sure that it's working. So we'll go ahead and open up a case. And actually, let's just go to the case that we had open before. And I'll go ahead and refresh it. And now we can see there's a new age rating field underneath dial out. And it says old because obviously this was created, it looks like September of last year. So very old. Now, if I just go ahead and clone this case, theoretically I would have a brand new case, which should show new. So I'll go ahead and clone this, and I'll save that cloned case. And sure enough, there we see the new age rating. All right, now for our next formula, let's actually do a twist on this current formula. Instead of showing new, old, aging, whatever, let's show a symbol, a little icon. So I'm going to go back to the formula, and I'm going to insert what's called an image formula. So the image formula has those 3, potentially 4 attributes there. The URL, the alternate text, and the height and width. So I need to give it a URL, and I'm going to use that if I already created to generate the URL instead of new, aging, or old. So I'm going to replace new with the URL, and I'll explain this in the blog post, how you get these little URLs. If it's new, instead of new, I'm going to say a green flag. If it's aging, I'm going to say a yellow flag. And if it's old, I'm going to say a red flag. Now the alternate text is just the text when you mouse over it. So I'm just going to say age rating. And I can optionally define a height and a width. I'm going to say, let's say 40 pixels by 40 pixels. All right, there we go. Let's go ahead and check our syntax. Oh, I'm missing a comma. Got it. Okay. And it looks like I made an error. Oh, okay. With the height and width parameters, you need to supply a number, not a string. So I'll remove those quotes, check the syntax again, and everything looks good. We can move ahead. All right, so I'm going to save that. And now if we go back and we refresh it, I'll see a green flag right there instead of what I had before, which was the name. And if I go to the old one, it should be a red flag. Yep, there it is. All right, so our last formula is going to be the most complex for sure because it deals with cross-object fields. So I'm going to open Opportunities, the tab, and I'm going to open the fields, and I'm going to create a new formula field for opportunities. Now this one's going to be more or less a rating based on a bunch of fields on the account object that's related to the opportunity. So I'll just call this one rating, and I'll make it a text field. I'll click Next. And now within my actual formula editor, I'm going to start building my formula. Now, this one's a little bit more complex and it contains a bunch of keywords. If you'd like a full breakdown, check out the blog post in the description of the video. But I'm going to kind of try and zoom through here while explaining how the logic works. So basically, I want to make sure that I rate this as a hot opportunity if it's in the USA, if the annual revenue of the account is very large, and if the channel is in a specific channel. So I'm going to make sure that the billing country is in the United States, and as you can see, I'm going to use a contains function and a case function that are nested together to make sure that no matter what the value in billing country, it always corresponds to US, and then it makes sure that the and contains US. And the second part of the and is actually going to be that the annual revenue is greater than some specific number. So I'll use account.annual revenue. Now notice how I'm using account.billing country and account.annual revenue. Those are the cross-object fields because we're referencing the account, which is related to the opportunity. Now we'll create another little if block underneath that. So remember, we're only going to get here if it's in the USA and the annual revenue is greater than 100,000. And we want to make sure that the account type is manufacturing partner. If it's manufacturing partner, we're considering this a hot opportunity. Whereas if it's not a manufacturing partner account type, we're going to say if it is potentially a channel partner or if it is potentially a installation partner, then we'll say it's sort of medium heat, right? So it's not hot, but it's not cold. So we'll call this one warm. And if it's none of those, it's cold. And then the last thing is the value of false. That's the value if the and isn't true. So then it's just cold in general. So that means it's either not in the USA or the annual revenue is not 100,000. Now I've made some error. Looks like I have an extra comma there. And I'm missing a comma here. Okay, let's check the syntax. That looks correct. All right. So pretty close, pretty complex, but looks like it checked out and looks like it's going to work for us. So again, if it's in the USA, if the annual revenue is greater than 100,000, if it's a manufacturing partner, it's hot. If it's a channel or installation partner, it's warm. Anything else, it's going to be cold. Make sense? All right. So that's our formula that we set up. It seems pretty hard to manage, but as long as we keep indenting, we can keep our wits about us and we can make sure that we understand what the formula is actually going to do for us. Now the indentation is critical. So let's go ahead and go through next. We'll go to next again. We'll save. And then we just need to check out one of our opportunities to make sure that it worked properly. So I'll open up Burlington Textiles again, and there we have the rating as cold. All right, so there you have it. That's all it takes. Pretty easy. Hope this video was useful to you guys. If it was, feel free to give it a thumbs up or to subscribe to the channel. I post new videos every single week. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.